Good afternoon. Can you all hear me, please?
Good
Yes, sir.
afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you. After a long time, actually. Anybody is affected with the recent bad weather? Chamodi, where are you and are you affected?
No, sir.
Where are you from?
I'm from Kurunag.
So you're not affected then.
No, sir.
Okay,
No.
very good. What about Ashok?
I am at Vatala, but for us, not affected, sir. But in some
Oh,
other
yeah.
areas, they are affected, yeah.
Right. Okay. Kirupakara?
What about you, sir? You okay? You safe?
Yeah. No issue.
Yes, sir. I am from Jaffna. No affection here. No affected. Not affected.
Okay. Okay, good. Indonil Vijay Singh? Panika Singh, sorry.
Yes, sir. Just now I joined, sir. I couldn't catch the previous thing.
Whether you are affected with the bad weather, that's just.
No, sir. No, sir. No.
Where are you from?
I am from Horana, sir, in Cultural District.
Okay. Horana, which area?
Horana Kumbuka, sir. That about.
Right. Okay. Kubuka പോയിട്ട് എത്ര വരികയാണ്?
Sir, Pokonivita, there's a Pokonivita and Colombo Road, sir.
Yeah. I know Kubuka. Batahirada and Ipatarada.
Kumbuka East.
East. Okay. Right.
Okay, sir.
Sasitara?
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Good
No,
afternoon.
sir.
Yes.
I'm from sorry, good afternoon. I'm
Yeah.
from Trincomalee, sir.
Okay. You're in Trinco and you're not affected.
No, sir. No, I'm town area, so it's not nothing.
Right. Okay. So where do you work?
University of Vaunia, sir.
Okay. Right. Because we were in Trinco for about 1 week.
Sir.
We were at the Navy base conducting some courses for them.
Okay.
Situ?
Sir, I'm in Jala. I'm not
Right.
affected, sir.
Right. Very good. What about there's somebody, in the news, they said the bridge is broken or something. Nothing like that, no?
Yeah, sir. There was a small fracture, but
Right.
now it has been recovered. The thing is a big tree. We can't believe that. A biggest tree came down with the water flow and stuck at the bridge. Then
Right.
water flow was not functioning well at that time.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Naika, can you hear me? And are you affected with the bad weather? Ratnaika, can you hear us, please?
No, sir. Not direct affected.
කොහෙද ගෙවල් එක කොට?
This is Kampa.
අම්පා ටවුන් එකේ වුණා යට වුණානේ.
ඔව් ටවුන් එකේ එහෙම යට වුණා.
Okay. Can we start? And already 5 minutes gone. I don't know whether anybody will be joining. We had one session with you all, am I right?
Yes, sir.
So there, what did we discuss? We discussed procurement strategies, right?
Yes, sir. I think we have stopped at balance scorecard and KPI. You
Okay.
told that that day we have to continue from that balance scorecard.
Right. Did we do the introduction to supply chain and logistics?
According to me, yes, sir, we done.
We have done. Okay. Right. Right. So we'll go to we'll do balance scorecard a little bit later then. Maybe today at the latter part of the session. So what I am asked is to basically to do introduction to supply chain logistics. I think we have done it. I will anyway run through it quickly. Then let's discuss different modes of transportation and also certain area in warehousing and warehousing management layouts and all. After that, we'll come back to performance management and balance scorecard. Then we'll understand it better, right? So let's try to understand and we'll run through quickly introduction to supply chain and logistics. I don't know whether I have done it. Right. We'll quickly go through this. I think we must have done it. I have not noted it. Let me. Yeah. I think we have done. So you know, we don't have to go through it. You must be having the notes. So we'll go to different modes of transportation.
So have you shared something? We can't see.
No, not yet. I'm going to share it.
Okay, sir.
Can you all see the screen, please?
Now, okay, sir.
Yes.
Let's try to understand then different modes of transportation. Subramaniam, how are you? Were you affected with the bad weather?
No, sir, but I am not directly, but indirectly, I am in charge of Mavilaru. Now, I am also waiting to go to Mavilaru on the way.
Okay. Right. Said Mohammed, are you affected?
No, sir. Yeah, in particular town area not
Right.
affected.
Okay. Right. Harini, are you affected?
No, sir. I am in Colombo, Bambalapitiya. So,
You are attached to water board, am I right?
yes, sir.
Okay. You got a lot of water anyway.
Yeah. But we have some problem in our treatment plants.
Right. Okay. Ambatale is corrected now, no?
Yeah. Most of them are now functioning. We
Right.
get up.
Okay. Glad to hear that anyway. Rikas,
Okay.
are you affected? Okay. So let's continue with the session then. We need to discuss different modes of transportation and how best the different modes of transportation can be used in logistics and transportation. What are the different modes of then transportation? There are altogether 5-6 different modes of transportation. As you are aware, very commonly used some mode of transportation. So what do you mean by actually transportation? So transportation is the physical movement of products. So you want to provide services, you have to move some machinery and equipment and people. So this physical movement to provide some services. So nowadays there are a lot of humanitarian services done. You distribute aids to people. At the same time, there are so many reconstruction and repairs going on throughout the country. So you need to move people and different equipment and machinery. So that is a physical movement of people and machinery to the sites where those are required. Transportation is basically then the actual physical movement of goods and people between the 2 points from where you are to where you are required. So that is the transportation, movement of people and other goods to the places where they are required. Why then transportation? Then without transportation, movement of resources from in between the point of origin and point of consumption cannot be done. So you have the point of origin and you have point of use or point of consumption. The physical movement of resources from point of origin to point of consumption, or other way around, even from point of consumption to point of origin, should happen. This physical movement happens through transportation. Here also transportation. So transportation should be done in such a way that it is economical. Transportation should be done in a manner which is economical. What do you mean by economical? We should eliminate waste as much as possible. At the same time, at minimum cost. So when you do this way, the transportation, we will be able to do profit maximization of the organization. If you can manage the transportation well in between the points, price stability will be there, growth of industries will happen, and there will be a lot of employment opportunities as well. And it is a utility. We discussed utilities at the introduction of the supply chain management. One of the utilities we discussed was the place utility. The place utility part is achieved through transportation. Now, this is why transportation is quite important. Now, when it comes to profit maximization, now this is a arguable thing actually. Profit maximization. When you say profit, it's in the books. Profit in books, ledger. When you prepare the final account, P&L, you get the profits there. About the P&L ke පොත්වල තියෙන profit එක ඒ විදියටම safe එකේ නැත්නම් bank එකේ තියනවාද? අපේ පොත්වල අපි derive කරන profit එක safe එකේ හරි බැංකුවේ හරි තියනවාද in the mode of cash? අර සමහර වෙලාවට organizations වල තියෙන ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නේ ඕක. පොත්වල profit තියෙනවා. පොත්වල profit තියෙනවා කියන්නේ theory. හැබැයි බැංකුවේ cash තියෙනවා. That is the practical aspect. කොච්චර profit තිබුණත් පොත්වල වැඩක් නැහැ බැංකුවේ cash නැත්නම්. You can argue with me. Business එකක් දුවන්න නම් බැංකුවේ cash තියෙන්න ඕන. පොත්වල profit තිබිලා වැඩක්. පොත්වල profit තියෙන්න පුළුවන් inventory විදියට. Inventory තියෙන්න පුළුවන් work in progress, finished goods, raw materials, consumables විදියට. පොත්වල profits තියෙන්න පුළුවන් receivables විදියට. තාම customers ලා බඩු service අරන් තියෙනවා, බඩු අරන් තියෙනවා, ගෙවලා නැහැ. ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ මේව කවද්ද ගෙවන්නේ? credit period එකට ගෙවනවද? I am consulting one of the leading organizations, one of my consultants at the moment consultations. මේගොල්ලෝ spare parts ගෙනල්ලා, they are importing a lot of spare parts. They supplied to regional suppliers at the moment. There are 3 suppliers. New shipments were delivered somewhere around 25th, 26th last month. මේක supply කෙනෙක්ගේ අද building එකවත් නැහැ. අනිත් suppliers ලාගේ හොදලා ගිහිල්ලා. දැන් මේ receivables ඔක්කොම. මේ ඔක්කොම receivables. දැන් මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට ඉන්න තරක්වත් නැතුව කොහොමද receivables ගෙවන්නේ? මේ මිනිසුන්ට ඉන්න තැනක්වත් නැතුව කොහොමද receivables ගෙවන්නේ? So the පොත්වල profit තිබිලා වැඩක් නැහැ. බැංකුවේ cash නැත්තම්. ඒක තමයි cash flow එක වැදගත්. එතකොට මේ transportation හරියට manage කළොත් අපිට පුළුවන් වෙනවා බැංක් එකට account එකට cash ගේන්න. පොත්වලට theoretically profit ගේනවට වඩා බැංක් එකට cash ගේන එක එමගදී නැත්තම් business එක දුවන්න බෑ. So what are you thinking on that? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think? Please argue. What do you think? Sasikaran, what do you think? Anybody who is specialized in chartered or SIMA kind of accountancy backgrounds? Yes.
The profit is
Yeah.
there, but that transformation into the cash, the liquidity, it is
Yes.
I think receivable means that if it is can immediately convert to the cash mode, it is, I think there should be because otherwise profit is in the book, it's okay, but it is should be somewhere. The earned
The issue
profit.
is, issue is when you value all the inventories, raw materials, work in progress, and finished goods, and also consumables. There's some of the work in progress, WIP, cannot be converted to finished goods. Some WIP which are shown cannot be converted to finished goods. Then how can you earn money? Or even there can be finished goods which cannot be sold sometimes. There are some issues in this area. ඒක නිසාම තමයි සමහරක් වෙලාවට profit පෙන්නන තරම් organizations වල practical growth එකක් නැහැ. සමහරක් වෙලාවට මේ කැලේ hide වෙලා තියෙනවා with the super profits that organizations earn anyway. So our focus here is the transportation. Now you have a huge opportunity in this area in logistics, transportation, warehouse management, inventory management area to convert your profits to cash. That is why this area is quite important today. As a major area of supply chain management, transportation, warehousing, inventory management kind of areas are quite important because they have a greater opportunity to convert profit to cash or reduce waste or improve the cash flow of the organization in many ways. So that is why this transportation, inventory management, this area is quite important. So in transportation, therefore, you are moving goods from A to B, A being the point of origin and B being the point of consumption, A to B. So it can be A to B or sometimes B to A. If you deliver goods A to B even, the empty vehicle has to come back B to A. So that's a return trip always. Return trip cannot be free. Return trip cannot be free. Even in the return trip, they are burning fuel. Even in the return trip, for the return trip, a driver has to be paid. Even in the return trip, the spare parts gevilano. So therefore, there will be a cost attached. So if you don't charge for the return trip, it will be really a hidden cost. So return trip cannot be free. So how do you organize this? What do you do with the trip generation in such a situations? How do you manage? So therefore, whenever you are focusing on transportation, you should focus on the total trip. So you should have a purpose for the trip. So we sometimes call it a trip purpose. Why are we making a trip? Maybe to deliver raw material from supplier to the production organization. Maybe to deliver what your product to your main warehouse. Maybe to deliver product from your main warehouse to retailers. Maybe deliver the product from the retailers to consumers. So each trip is, whatever the trip, each trip will use resources. It can be the land, it can be railway tracks, it can be sea, it can be the river, or whatever the mode, depending on the mode, it will use a particular, the set of resources. So the road transportation, if it is the main thing, you use land. Land use will be there. So the land use that generate trips, such as homes, that those entities are called then trip generators. It can be the office, it can be, the parks, theaters, or schools, whatever it is. Those people who are generating trips, and at the end of the day, the trips are used or called trip attractors. So you have trip users and trip attractors. Trip users and trip attractors. So from the factory, if you have your factory, to the factory, there are different types of trips. Employees should be transported to the factory. So you can see in many organizations in Sri Lanka, it is. So many factories in Sri Lanka, they transport people from home to the factory, and then they have a return trip from the factory to homes of the employees. Same way suppliers, customers, various government departments, auditors. So all these people will have some trips toward the factory. So those are trip attractors to the factory. So the role of transportation in logistics, therefore, is quite important. So you have inside the node, you have a particular entity. You are transporting goods, maybe the supplier's warehouse to customer's warehouse. B is the customer and customer's warehouse. So this particular transportation consumes a lot of cost. So it is basically the physical movement of goods in between the points. So you can see a particular network here, a supply chain, maybe IKEA kind of organizations. You have a timber supplier, maybe their own organization. IKEA kind of organization, they grow thousands of acres of timber, their own timber plantations. The timber is cut and maybe it is coming to the pulp supplier. So they produce pulp. Pulp supplier supply pulp to the, the paper supplier, paper producer. The paper producer supply paper to the printer or the publisher. At the same time, publisher is supplied with required chemicals by the chemical supplier. And also there can be data suppliers, maybe authors of books, or various other data that need to be printed. And they then distribute it to the district agents after printing. Then it goes to the retailers like bookshops, stationery shops, and readers buy things from the bookshops or stationery shops. So this is a kind of a supply chain which involves printing and publishing printed material, and they are supplied paper by the paper supplier, and the paper supplier use then timber to make pulp. Now in this particular supply chain, you can see the role of transportation. So look at the role of transportation here in this particular simple network. Now this kind of a network you can see. So you have transportation here, another transportation, another transportation, another transportation, another transportation, another transportation, another transportation, and another transportation. So many situations of transportation. So what happens if the transportation doesn't happen? If the transportation does not happen, you will not have a supply chain. So that to that extent, that is the role of the transportation. The role of the transportation, therefore, is quite important in executing the supply chain. Role of transportation quite important in executing the supply chain. So in terms of logistics, the logistic means moving resources from the point of origin to point of consumption. But how do you move resources by way of transportation? And transportation quite important. Why? Transportation should transport, especially goods, with two things. Transportation should happen in terms of the required time, at the right time. And transportation at the same time should happen to the right place. It can be internal transportation organization, like actually it can be external transportation organization again, whatever the transportation happens, these two utilities are important. Transportation should happen at the right time and to the right place. Raw material warehouse again, raw material tika ගෙනියන්න ඕන මොන machine එකටද? එතකොට raw material should be delivered to the right machine. Internal transportation එක. මේක right to the right machine යන්න ඕන at the right time. වෙලාව පහු වෙලා හොර ගිහිල්ලා ඉස්සරලා හරි ගිහිල්ලා තේරුමක් නැහැ. හරි වෙලාවට යන්න ඕන. හරි වෙලාවට හරි machine එකට යන්න ඕන. So therefore transportation in logistics have two utilities at the right time to the right place. So this is internal transportation, but external transportation, it is quite important. Maybe from the supplier to the manufacturer, the raw material. So when the manufacturer manufactured goods for the manufacturer to the markets, retail outlets. Both cases, the two utilities are important to the right place at the right time. Then Christmas approaching, we are in the Christmas Eve. Then May වෙලාවේ introduce කරන්න නැති toys ටික Christmas පහු වෙලා ජනවාරි පෙබරවාරි වල toys introduce කරලා වැඩක් නැහැ. Toys deliver කරලා වැඩක් නැහැ Christmas පහු වුණා. So it should be at the right time and to the right place as well. So that is the importance or the importance of a role of transportation. So therefore, now in Sri Lanka right now, government is spending a lot of money. People spend their energy. Different departments today for the first time work together in harmony to correct the infrastructure of the transportation in the country, which was damaged by the recent bad weather. That is the biggest issue at the moment. Sri Lanka has one of the biggest issues, how to correct the infrastructure of transportation. The railway line damage in Balana area. How long it will take to correct? Transportation infrastructure is totally destroyed in certain areas. පාලම තිබුණා 27 වෙනිදා 28 වෙනිදා රැ වෙනකොට 29 වෙනිදා වෙනකොට පාලම නැහැ. පාර තිබුණා පාර නැහැ. So we need to correct this infrastructure. And at the moment, government is spending a lot of money. People spend a lot of money and energy. Their efforts are put in to correct the infrastructure. See how important infrastructure. සමහර ගම්වල ගම වෙන් වෙලා යන්න විදියක් නැහැ. ගම 7-8ක් පාලමෙන් එහා පැත්තේ. ඒ මිනිස්සුන්ට කැම තියනවද, බේත් තියනවද, වතුර තියනවද, ලෙඩ්ඩු ඉන්නවද, ලෙඩ්ඩු ස්පිරිතාලෙට ගෙනියන්න ඕනේද? මොකුත් දන්නේ නැහැ. කරන්න විදියක් නැහැ. මොකද transportation sometimes are totally destroyed. So the transportation infrastructure quite important for any country. So therefore transportation infrastructure systems, that is for transporting goods or people, you have one transportation infrastructure, roads or railway systems, ports, airports, even walkways, tunnels and bridges, stations, and also even cycling infrastructure. So this is not a big thing, not considered that to that extent in Sri Lanka cycling, but in the developed world, even cycling infrastructure is considered very valuable. Actually, it is valuable. Now see, all this infrastructure is gone today. So without having this level of proper infrastructure, so there's no way that you can bring the country to a normalcy.
So excuse
Or
me.
you can Yes, please.
So, yeah. Regarding previous site, sir, what is the station there? Is it a railway? I think not railway, right? There previous site.
No,
slide?
it is the stations. They are talking about terminals and data stations. It can be railway stations, bus stations, ports, airports, as at the same time data transporting stations as well. It can be communication towers. It can be serious, the TV towers, data towers, kind of signal towers as well. Now, how many
So,
signal towers, how many data towers, signal towers, antenna towers have been destroyed along with the recent bad weather? කන්ද නාය යනකොට කන්ද මුදුනේ තියච්ච ටවර් එකට මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? Data tower එකට. So it covers all those. Normally the terminals, railway stations and the ports, harbors kind of terminals are covered within the railway station, within the ports, within the airports. You have those stations. But here mainly we are talking about data stations.
yes, sir. Could you please give us this presentation because it is not available in the LMS.
Okay, definitely. Yes. I think we have a WhatsApp group. Am I right?
And no, yeah, WhatsApp, or you can put it to chat box here.
Yeah. Okay. I will do that. Right. So you understand different the level of infrastructure that are involved with different modes of transportation. And there are many more different levels of infrastructure to come along with the development of various aspects. So the transportation infrastructure, you can see some countries. So the statistics in different countries. So it can be approximately millions. You can see the numbers. Highway in Brazil kind of countries, you can see 212,798 kilometers. Lankawe total highway kilometerage කාට හරි කියන්න පුළුවන්. If you go to RBA website, you can get it directly. So I think it's less than 400 still. Less than 400 kilometers, our total highway. So 212,000 in Brazil. 3,453,000 kilometers in China. 644,000 in Germany. Even Nigeria, 28,000. And 4,374,000 in the USA. See, when a country is getting developed, transportation infrastructure definitely should be improved. මේක අපිට ලංකාවේ දකින්න නෑ. අපි පාරට වාහන දාන ප්‍රමාණය එන්න වැඩි කරනවා. හැබැයි transportation infrastructure ගැන අපි ඉතර හිතන්නේ නෑ. හිතලා නෑ. හිතුවත් එහෙම develop වෙලත් නෑ. So that is one of the setbacks. Now we have different modes of transportation. We have one of the modes of transportation will be pipeline. මම දන්නේ හරියටම water board එකේ නෝනට අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි pipeline කොච්චර කිලෝමීටර ගාණක් water board එකේ තියෙනවද කියලා. Do you have any statistics anyway? Do we have any statistics? How many kilometers of pipelines are established?
Approximately around 40%, 50% of water supply is seems available at
Right.
country. Yeah.
Right. So please go into details and check Tarini, how many kilometers, like
Okay, sir. I will.
what about pipelines, maybe different sizes of pipelines will be there, but altogether it will be, I think it will be good to know. So you can see pipelines in terms of oil in Brazil, 4,835, China 23,000, Germany 2,800, Nigeria 4,400 because they have got some oil wells in the lands. United States also 244,000 because they have got so many oil wells in the land area. If you travel from Seattle to California kind of cities, you are passing a lot of land, areas where they have oil wells. So the broad, yes. Yeah, you have a railway kilometerage. Brazil, 5,627 plus standard 194. Then good China 86,000. Germany kind of country is 41,000. 224,000. United States kind of countries. A lot of goods are transported through railway. One of the cheapest and safest mode of transportation. Sri Lanka, we are very poor in that sense. When it comes to details of the rail transportation, we'll discuss some more. So even narrow gauge, that means monorail kind of transportation is also there. Then water transportation, inland water transportation, Brazil 50,000, China 110,000, Germany 7,000, Nigeria 8,000 and 41,000 United States. This is not sea transportation, this is inland water transportation. ලංකාවෙත් මෙහෙම තිබුණා. අපි පොඩි කාලේ අපි දැක්ක කැලණිගගේ පාරු යනවා. කැලණිගගේ පාරු ඒගොල්ලෝ උඩා ඉඳලා ලී ටික අරගෙන ආවේ පාරුවේ. කලුංගගේ පාරු යනවා අපි දැක්කා. ගඟේ වතුර යනවා පාරු නෑ. ලී කොට ටික ඔක්කොම පාරේ යනවා ට්‍රක් එකේ. ඒක තමයි අපේ ඩෙවලොප්මන්ට් එක. වතුරෙන් ගොඩට ඇවිල්ලා ගොඩට ට්‍රක් එකේ තමයි අපි අද ලී ටික අරන් යන්නේ. නවලෝක මුදලාලි මාතරින්දන් ඇවිල්ලා පෑලියගොඩ ඇයි ඔතන එයාගේ ටිම්බර් බිස්නස් එක පටන් ගත්තේ? මොකද උණලී ටික ආවේ කැලණිගඟේ පාරුවේ. එයා ඔය කියන තැනින් තමයි කැලණිගඟෙන් උණලී ටික ගොඩ දාගත්තේ. උණලී ටික එන්නේ පාරෙන්. පාරුවක් නෑ. එකම කරලා අපි කියනවා පාර ට්‍රැෆික් වෙලා. ගඟේ ආපු ලී ටික ගඟේ ආපු උණලී ටික පාරේ ට්‍රක් එකකට දාගෙන අපි කියනවා පාර ට්‍රැෆික්, පාරේ ඇක්සිඩන්ට්, පාර ඩැමේජ් වෙනවා කියලා. ගඟ හිස්වෝහි ගලාගෙන යනවා වෙනද වගේ. So this is the development that we have achieved. You can see other countries, even though they are well developed, they are still using all these mode of transportation within the country. What is the economic role of transportation infrastructure? The economic role of transportation infrastructure. So you can see, if you can use transportation infrastructure, what are these infrastructure we are talking about? So these are the infrastructure we are talking about. Road transportation, railway transportation, ports, airports, cycling, stations, tunnels, walkways, may occur transportation infrastructure. ඒතර අපි මේ transportation infrastructure ඒකවල role එක මොකක්ද? Economic role of transportation infrastructure. The transportation infrastructure නැත්තම් අපිට කිසිම දෙයක් කරගන්න බෑ. ඇයි රජය අද ප්‍රමුඛතාවය දීලා තියෙන්නේ? පාලම් ටික හදන්න, පාරවල් ටික හදන්න, රේල් පාර හදන්න. කොට වඩා ප්‍රමුඛතාවය දීලා තියෙන්නේ ඒ ටිකට. මොකද මිනිසුන්ට ගෙවල් නැති වුණාට, ගෙවල් ඉන්න තැන් නැති වුණාට, පාර හදා ගන්න නැතුව, ගේ හදන්න බඩු ටික ගේන්න. ඒවත් තේ ටික හැදුවට කෝච්චි පාර හදා ගන්න නැතුව, පාර හදා ගන්න නැතුව තේ ටික කොළඹට ගේන්න බෑ. production centers වල, factories වල, even they produce goods, if you don't have the road network corrected, you can't bring it to the port. Therefore, no two words, the government's actions are very correct. The first priority should be the road network and the railway network, getting it back to normal as fast as you can. Then only we will be able to support other disastrous sites. මිනිසුන්ට කැම ටික ගෙනිලා දෙන්න හරි යන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න. ඔයගොල්ලෝ අපි කොළඹ ඉඳලා මේ දකින තත්ත්වය නෙමෙයි ඇත්තටම ඒ සයිට්ස් වල තියෙන්නේ. මිනිසුන්ට ගේ නෑ අද. ගේ තීච්ච තැන කූඩාරමක් ගහගෙන මිනිස්සු ඉන්නවා. අපි ගිහිල්ලා බෙදනවා පොත්. ඒ මිනිස්සු කියනවා අනේ මහත්තයෝ වතුර ටිකක් බිව්වේ නෑ දවසකින් කියලා. අපි ප්‍රයොරිටි එක මොකක්ද කියලා තේරුම් ගන්න. That is very important. What is the first priority? So if you have to support first thing the existence of the people, and then you have to prioritize the economic activities of the country. Economic activities mean the activities which generate money for the country. Whatever you to do, then transportation infrastructure is very important. So without transportation infrastructure, although you produce goods in the factories, you will not be able to get it across to the other countries, to the markets. Therefore, economic activities, and also you have to remove different types of geographical barriers to get products to the markets. And you should be isolated from the competition. So it supports co-economic activities. And the transportation infrastructure at the end of the day will be facilitating trade through lowering access cost to international markets, and thereby improving the competitiveness. So you should minimize as much as possible the internal cost factors in order to have a better price for your products. And also, transportation infrastructure will increase the production capacities and product capacity of the economy through widening and deepening labor markets. So the මිනිසුන්ට වැඩ තියෙන තැනකට වැඩ එන්න විදියක් නෑ, because the transportation infrastructure is not there. Also, the transportation infrastructure will support social and territorial imbalances, bringing basically solutions. So transportation will facilitate movements of resources and people from where you are, having surpluses to other areas. So you can see there are a lot of things that transportation can do for a country, considering all modes of transportation. So these are the then basic modes of transportation: road, rail, air, sea, and pipelines, as we discussed. Okay, so let's try to understand a little bit in detail the comparison of different modes of transportation. Any particular transportation, if you consider what are the things, how best you can see the infrastructure or the transportation is more attractive. So what are the areas that we'll be discussing, we'll be focusing when we are evaluating a particular mode of transportation? When we evaluate a particular mode of transportation, in terms of what factors you evaluate, in terms of what factors you will evaluate, right? We'll go into the details maybe in 5 minutes. Let's have a small break for about to get some water. Just give me 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we'll continue. Okay. Thank you. Let's continue then. So different modes of transportation. How do you evaluate? How do you select a particular mode of transportation? So these are the things, these are the factors that we will evaluate in terms of transportation. So one will be the cost factor. Very important. What will be the cost? The total cost of transportation. At the same time, what is the speed, reliability, capability, capacity, flexibility, all these factors are also important when you are selecting a particular mode of transportation. So that is why sometimes it may not be one mode of transportation from point A to point B. Sometimes it will have a common mode of transportations. From the factory, you have the factory in Anuradhapura, factory to Colombo port, maybe road transportation. From Colombo port to New York, again maybe sea transportation. New York DC center to regional center, maybe rail transportation. From the regional center to shops, maybe truck transportation. Look, you have to use, no choice, different modes of transportation. So when you are using one particular mode of transportation or different modes of transportation from the factory to the retail outlet or to the consumer, you need to compare the cost. You need to evaluate the speed. You need to assess the reliability, capability, and capacity. Also, what level of flexibility. So these are some of the factors that will be used to evaluate a particular mode or combined mode of transportation to take a decision. What do you mean by the cost in these attributes? What is the cost? Cost means a particular transporting agent or a carrier. It can be road transportation, rail transportation, sea transportation. A carrier, how much they charge to transport a shipment. So that is their price. It is a cost to us. How much do they charge a 40-footer container to take from Colombo to Shanghai or from Shanghai to Colombo? What is the transportation cost from Anuradhapura factory to Colombo port? A container. Like that, you must understand the cost. You must understand what kind of a speed that you should have as well. What is the actual transit time? From the time they pick up to the delivery. From Colombo port to New York port. From Anuradhapura factory to Colombo port. What is the speed? How much of time? And what is the very important, the level of reliability or the consistency of delivery. If you have committed 4 hours from Colombo to Anuradhapura, how many times you failed, or all the time you bring a container within 4 hours have you delivered? Capability. How much, and handling different cargo, what kind of technology is used and what is the type of machinery equipment used to handle cargo. Sorry about it. So the reliability and the capacity and the capability, handling different types of cargo. What is the volume that you can take? A ship can take a better load, a railway truck can take, or railway can take better loads, but road capability and the capacity may be less, the volume, and what level of flexibility in terms of customer's warehouse, customer's location, what level of flexibility. So these are factors need to be considered when it comes to assessing a particular mode of transportation. So we have discussed the importance, the competition, the economies of scale, cost prices, all these. So as a single mode of transportation, if you consider the rail transportation and the water transportation in terms of volume may be bigger. So the rail carriers have basically increased over the period of time. The railway, the lengths have been increased, reach have been increased, handling different cargo have been increased. You must have heard about the iron route. Iron route. So where do you get the iron route? From where to where? Yes, anybody? From where to where you get the iron route? Anybody, please? Yes. No, what do you mean by iron route? Chamodi, any idea? Iron route? Yes.
It is in Europe to transport iron and things.
Very good try. Adil Akhil, any idea? So Vasarathil, any
Is
idea
it
what do you mean
like
by
the
iron route?
railway goods, sir?
Yes. Railway tamai. Kohedang koeda. Good try. Thank you very much for responding. Lasanta liyanage?
France.
No idea, sir.
Okay, thank you. Lasanta Vikramage? Iron route is railway line. Yes, you are right. The railway line from Shanghai, China to Hamburg, Germany. Across all the railway stations, Europe, and even touching Moscow. More than 2,000 containers carts, railway carts are connected in this particular iron route. Go to YouTube. We don't have much of time here. And just type iron route and see how iron routes have been established and capabilities. More than 2,000, 3,000 containers. Goods from China to European countries, including Moscow. So one of the cheapest mode of transportation, but time-wise, considering somewhat, the need to be expedited, but a lot of developments. So what are the functions of railroad industry or the infrastructure developments? The movement of freight and people in the most efficient manner possible by railway lines. About 43% of US cargo internally delivered by railway. Railway is considered an experience as the fast, reliable, convenient, economical, safe, fuel efficient, and environmental friendly mode of transportation. What else then? What else? All the things are positive basically. Look at what Sudha did to Sri Lanka. Sudha මෙරට පාලනය කරපු කාලේ අපිට තිච්ච fastest mode of transportation එක මොකද්ද? සුද්දා මේ රටට එන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා ලංකාවේ අපිට තිච්ච fastest mode of transportation එක මොකද්ද කියන්න බලන්න. There are two modes of transportation. සුද්දා මේ රටට එන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා there were two modes of transportation.
Bullock
What
carts
are the
and
two?
ferries.
Bullock carts and
Haru ferries. Right?
ferries.
Water
Yes.
mode.
Yeah, you're right. Paru and the bullock cart. එතකොට සුද්දා තේ ටික වැව්වා, කෝපි ටික වැව්වා, පොල් ටික වැව්වා. මේක කොළඹට ගේන්න ඕන දැන්. ඒක කොළඹට ගේන්න බෑ බර කරත්තේ. කොළඹට ගේන්න බෑ පාරුවෙන් කොටසක් විතරයි ගේන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක නිසා තමයි සුද්දා පාර හදන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා රේල්වේ ලයින් එක ඩෙවලොප් කරේ. Putlam line, Central line, Kalani Valley line, and the coastal line, main four railway lines were developed by Britishers. Why? To transport goods from the internal areas to the port. Up to the jetty railway line was there. 98% railway line is used to transport goods. But today it is very pathetic. We are using only 2% of the railway capacity to transport goods. 98% other way around, we are transporting passengers. So the 98% transported goods and the loss, it is a loss-making industry today in Sri Lanka. About 90%, more than 90% of the cost is allocated from the treasury. And railway department has become today one of the major cost centers for the government. On top of that, there is huge amount of corruption and inefficiencies. Corruption and inefficiencies. එතකොට සුද්ද රේල්වේ ලයින් එක ඕපන් කරනකොට 1943 43ද 41ද කියලා මට හරියට මතක නැහැ. පොඩ්ඩක් චෙක් කරන්න. මට හිතන්නේ 41 වෙන්නේ නැති. 41 or 40. පළවෙනි රේල්වේ ලයින් එක අබේපුස්සට යනකොට සුද්දට තරඟයක් තිබුණේ බුලොක් කාට් එකත් එක්ක. ඒ කියන්නේ in terms of mode of transportation මේ රටේ සුද්දට තරඟයක් තිබුණේ නැහැ. තරඟේ තිබුණේ බුලොක් කාට් එකත් එක්ක. කෝච්චියයි බුලොක් කාට් එකයි අතර what is the competition? And it was a paradigm shift when he introduced railway line in terms of transportation in Sri Lanka. අපි අද ඊට පස්සේ සුද්දගෙන් පස්සේ අපි රේල්වේ ලයින් එකේ එක්ස්ටෙන්ෂන් එකක් විදියට අරන් තියෙන එකම තමයි දැන් බෙලියත්තලා ඉන්නේ. එච්චරයි අපි අද එක්ස්ටෙන්ෂන් එක කරන් තියෙන්නේ. So we have ignored, or we don't have money, or maybe authorities didn't pay due attention to the market requirements in terms of railway transportation in Sri Lanka. So these are the things. Now, in the recent past, there were some changes done to the railway department. The minister is, I think, aware of most of the things happening, but still very slow in terms of development. So you can analyze some of these areas. I believe at the end of the day, you will have to do a research. If you choose this area maybe this is one of the areas that you will be able to look at as a research topic to do your research at the end of the course. So how best we'll be able to develop the Sri Lankan railway system to the required degree, or what are the barriers, or how do we do it? Maybe one of the research topics. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of rail transportation? Advantages, you can see speed wise, you can't match with others. Speed wise. Long distance mainly, so they actually developed rail systems in any country, maybe in India, maybe in Bangladesh, maybe in Pakistan, maybe in some of the African countries. He developed the railway systems as a long distance transportation, not a short distance. Short distance transportation should introduce the metro lines. So metro lines are mainly for passenger transportation and short distance transportation. Railway lines are basically for cargo transportation and long distance transportation. Railway, we can carry bulk. Protection level of safety is high. Carrying capacity is very large. So these are some advantages then. What are the disadvantages? Railway line and the stations, signal systems, and cargo handling stations, you can't just establish පාරයිනේ හට් එකක් ගාලා බස් හෝල්ට් එකක් දානවා වගේ railway stations දාන්න බෑ. So therefore capital expenditure is quite high. Overheads will be high. Railway cannot basically operate on door-to-door mode. සමහරක් වෙලාවට competition එකක් නැති එකක් disadvantage එකක්. Because railway doesn't have a competition in many countries. That is also a disadvantage. If there is a competition, they will improve. And flexibility is low. So these are some disadvantages of rail transportation. I told you, railway is first established for cargo handling. For you to handle cargo, you should have a rail freight station. So you should have railway carts and you should have locations where you can handle cargo. You can see the rail cart comes to this particular railway station, containers are loaded, containers are unloaded. If you go to Shanghai, you can see automatic rail freight stations, automatic ports. And millions of containers, millions of vehicles, millions of gas cylinders and gas tanks, fuel tanks are transported by railway in other countries. There is one rail freight station in Sri Lanka. There is one rail freight station in Sri Lanka. Can somebody tell me? There is one rail freight station in Sri Lanka. Can somebody tell me?
Maradani.
Yes. Maradani. Can you have another try?
So that fuel transportation line?
No, that is not railway. I'm talking about rail freight station. Containers are loaded to railway carts and unloaded from the railway carts. One of the priorities of the current government is also to transport rail, the containers by railway lines. I will discuss later. We have somebody from Trinco.
They are trying to way Angoda, right?
Yeah, Angoda is the new dry port coming in. Proposed dry.
Prima and
Yeah,
Mitsui.
Okay, is that Subramaniam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, We have
Yeah.
somebody from Trinco as well, no? Who is from Trinco?
I'm the one.
Okay. Then you
Yes,
are
sir.
right.
Yes.
If you go to China Bay, Prima railway station,
Yes.
you can see containers are loaded and unloaded. That is the only rail freight station we have in Sri Lanka, 1 or 2 containers at a time, loaded, unloaded. And as you said, Veyangoda has been identified by this government as a dry port. What do you mean by a dry port? Because the dry port, most of the other countries have a lot of dry port. India has so many dry ports. Switzerland have a dry port. Nepal has a dry port. What do you mean by a dry port? Anybody? Yes. Anybody, please?
It's an extension to seaport.
Yes, of course, you are right. It is an extension to seaports. So why then, why should you have an extension to seaports? You are right.
Because there are traffic in terminals, right? To
Very
manage
good.
those traffics.
Very good. Say you have Colombo Port. So you have Colombo Port here. When you have the port here, so many ships comes, unload all the containers in the terminals. So there are thousands of containers every day loaded, unloaded. So to go through customs procedures and clear this cargo, it takes time. So the government therefore is considering a port in Veyangoda, connecting the port and the Veyangoda site by high-speed railway line. So immediately from the ship, container will be loaded to the ship or the rail cart, and container will be within 20-30 seconds, the minutes, brought to Veyangoda site. The containers from the ship will be unloaded to the rail cart and container will be brought to the Veyangoda site. Those who are going now to clear the container to Colombo port, they'll go to Veyangoda now. And Veyangoda, you'll have fully fledged customs and cargo handling systems. From the train, containers will be unloaded, and from the yard, containers will be loaded back to trucks. So this is all the port activities, all the port related 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 activities will be done in Veyangoda. So it is a port in the land. It is a port without a sea. It is a port without ships coming in. But it is a port within 20-30 minutes, cargo will be brought to the port. All the port operations will happen there. Therefore, it is a port without a sea. It is called a dry port then. This is being planned now. Why Veyangoda? The railway lines existing, the railway land, all these facilities, and the distance from the Colombo port to Veyangoda. Veyangoda being a centralized place for maybe Kurunagala, area, even to Colombo. Central area for industries.
And so it is near to Karnataka EPZ also.
Yes. So why then And also, if we can implement this immediately, you can reduce number of container carriers or the trucks coming to the Colombo port. The trucks traffic will be there to Wayangoda, not to the Colombo port. So the number of vehicles coming to Colombo port will also be reduced. Colombo area will be reduced. And also it will be an answer. Government is encouraging and planning to push industries. Now you have, as you said, Katunayaka, as you said, Koggala, as you said, Kandy, then or the Avisavella, you have Sitavaka zone, you have Pallekale zone, Koggala and Katunayaka, especially in the free trade zones, you have rail. In the zone, inside the zone, you have railway line. Sitavaka may be 1 kilometer away. Pallekale may be 1 kilometer away. Although railway line goes through the Koggala and Katunayaka zone, not a single container transported by railway tracks. 100% container transportation happens on the road. So if we can bring some rules and regulations and the facilities at the same time to handle containers by railway to these two zones, how many trucks can be eliminated from the roads? How many trucks can be eliminated from the roads? So you can see we are not utilizing the existing facilities even. We are not utilizing the existing facilities even. මේ රටේ 70% හාල් හදන්නේ පොළොන්නරුවේ. කරලිය එතකොට නිපුණ ගමලත් මාත්‍යාගේ මේ වගේ මේජර් රයිස් මිල්ස් ඔක්කොම තියෙන්නේ පොළොන්නරු. එතකොට අම්පාරේ ඉඳලා හාල් ටික පොළොන්නරුවට ගේනවා. ඒක වෙනම දෙයක්. අනුරාධපුර අම්පාරේ ඔක්කොම ඒරියා එකේ හාල් ටික ගේනවා මෙතන. වී ටික. ඒක හාල් කරන්නේ මෙතන. ඊළඟ මේ රටේ 70%ක් හාල් මෙතන නිෂ්පාදනය කළා. මේ 70%ක් මුළු රටටම හාල් ටික ආපහු බෙදා හරිනවා. not a single එක හාල් ඇටයක්වත් රේල්වේ ලයින් එකේ යන්නේ නැහැ. 100% on the road. 100% on the road. නඩලි සිරිසේන මහත්තයාගේ විතරක් ලොරි තියෙනවා 250කට වැඩිය. So how many with Aralia? How many with Ratna? How many with other rice mills? 100% on the road. එකපාරක් ප්‍රොපෝසල් එකක් දුන්නා මේ රටේ ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් මිනිස්ටර්ට මේ ඩට්ලි මහත්තයාවයි ගවලත් මහත්තයාවයි එකතු කරලා කියන්න ඒගොල්ලන්ට ට්‍රේන් එකක් ගන්න කියලා සල්ලි වලට. ඒගොල්ලන්ට සල්ලි තියෙනවා. මේ රටේ රේල්වේ ට්‍රැක්ස් තියෙනවා. උදේ පාන්දර 1 දවල් රෑ 1ට කෝච්චිය ගියාට පස්සේ ආපහු පාන්දර 4ට කෝච්චිය යනවා. කෝච්චි පාරේ එක බල්ලෙක්වත් නැහැ. මේ වෙලාව දෙන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ට. මේ රටේ මේජර් ටවුන්ස් වලට රේල්වේ එකේ හාල් ටික ගෙනිහිල්ලා එතනින් ලොරි ටික දාගන්න. It will be cheaper for them. අපි දන්නේ නැතාම මේ ප්‍රොපෝසල් එකට මොකද වුනේ කියලා. මේ රටේ පළවෙනි ආර්ථික මධ්‍යස්ථානයේ දඹුල්ල. රේල්වේ ලයින් එක පළාතෙවත් නැහැ. අද අලුතෙන් ඉදමක් අයිඩෙන්ටිෆයි කරලා තියෙනවා කැකිරාවේ රේල්වේ ලයින් එකට කිට්ටුව. Maybe shifting this to Dabullo as the rail freight station for vegetable and fruits. Tukalam. Now see, yes, ආර්ථික මධ්‍යස්ථාන හොඳයි. හැබැයි ඒකේ cool room එකක් නෑ. ඒක railway line එකක් නෑ. 100% transportation on the road. මේ මම මේ නිකන් මේ modes of transportation කතා කරලා වැඩක් නැහැ. අපි කොහොමද මේක මේ රටට ගන්නෙ? ඒ පැත්තේ thinking එකකට පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න.
මේ දැන් ලංකාවේ බිස්නස්මන්ට ගත්තොත් ඒ කියන්නේ යාලා ප්‍රොෆිට් මැක්සිමයිස් කරන්න හැමෝම උනන්දු වෙන වෙලාවේ දැන් මෙච්චර කාලයකට හරි දැන් ඔය වගේ ප්‍රොපෝසල් එකක් හිටපු ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකකට හරි ඒ කියන්නේ දීලා ඒගොල්ලන් එන්කරේජ් කළා ඒ පැත්තට නොගියා. මොකද දැන් අපිට ක්‍රයිසිස් තියෙන හැම වෙලාවෙම ඒ කියන්නේ ෆුවල් වල මිල ඉහළ ගියා. ඒකට ඒගොල්ලන් බඩු මිල ඉහළ දැම්ම මිසක ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ටේෂන් කොස්ට් එක අඩු කරන්න ඒ වගේ ඔප්ෂන් එකකට හිටපු ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකක් හරි එන්කරේජ් නොකරේයි. මොකද එයාලා හැම වෙලාවෙම ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකේ මොන හරි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙලා ඉන්නේ.
Different political reasons actually. ඉතින් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා මිනිහෙක් දේශපාලනේ නැකොට දේශපාලනය කරන්නේ රට යහපතට. Unfortunately අපේ රටේ මිනිස්සු 90%ක් දේශපාලනය කරන්නේ තමන්ගේ යහපතට. මේ දැනුම මේ හැම රජයකම තිබුණේ නැත්තේ නෙමෙයි. මේ දැනුම මේ හැම රජයකටම තිබුණා. පහුගිය රජයට අපි මේ ප්‍රොපෝසල් එක දුන්නා. මේ රජයටත් යම් කිසි වක්‍රාකාරයකින් ඒ දැනුම දීලා තියෙනවා. පහුගිය රජයන්ට වඩා මේ රජය ඒ ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් ඉස්සරහට හිතලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වරක් අරන්. දැන් ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් ඇමතිතුමාලා ගත්තොත් එහෙම. වෙල්ගම වගේ ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් ඇමතිතුමෙක් අරගත්තොත් එයාගේ ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් කම්පැනියක් තිබුණා. ලංකාවේ ඕන පළාතක ලොරියක් දකින්න පුළුවන් කාලයක් තිබුණා වෙල්ගම ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට්. ඇමතිතුමාගේ තාත්තයි. එතකොට එයාගේ ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රීස් තිබුණා මේ ෆුවල් ටැන්ක්ස් හදන. එයාට අවශ්‍යතාවයක් තිබුණේ නැහැ. රේල්වේ එකෙන් එයාගේ ව්‍යාපාරයට පහර ගන්න දේවල් කරන්න. ප්‍රොෆෙසර් ගුණරුවන් කියන්නේ ප්‍රොෆෙසර් ලලිත සිරි ගුණරුවන් ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකට ගිහිල්ලා බලන්න එයා දීපු ඩොකියුමන්ට්ස් තියෙනවා. 2004 සුනාමි එක එනකොට ප්‍රොෆෙසර් ලලිත සිරි ගුණරුවන් තමයි රේල්වේ ජෙනරල් මැනේජර්. කිලෝමීටරයට 600 මිලියන් රුපීස් වගේ ගාණක් වියදම් කළා එයා මාස 3ක් ඇතුළත සුනාමියෙන් විනාශ වෙච්ච රේල්වේ ලයින් ටික හැදුවා. එයා මේ රේට් එකෙන්ම ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකට ටෙන්ඩර් එකක් දුන්නා. එතකොට වවුනියාවේ ඉඳලා ජෆ්නා වලට රේල්වේ ලයින් එක එක්ස්ටෙන්ඩ් කරා. 600 මිලියන් රුපීස් per kilometer. හැබැයි කොන්ට්‍රැක්ට් එක I think 1000 මිලියන් රුපීස් වගේ ගානකට ඉන්දියාව වලට ගියා. හිටපු ජනාධිපතිතුමා මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මහත්තයා කිව්වේ මේ ඉන්දියාවත් බැලන්ස් කරගන්න ඕනේ. ලලිත සිරි ගුණරුවන් ප්‍රොපෝසල් එකක් දුන්නා ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකට මේ කොළඹට කොළොන්නාවට තෙල් බවුසර් ගේන්න එපා. මේ රටේ තියෙන හැම මේජර් සිටි එකකටම මම රේල්වේ ට්‍රැක්ස් වල ඔයිල් ටික තෙල් ටික ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් කරලා දෙන්නම්. බවුසර් ටික ගෙන්න ගන්න මේ මේජර් සිටිස් වල. එතකොට තමයි හිටපු ඇමතිතුමෙකුට කේන්ති ගියේ යකෝ උඹ මගේ ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් මගේ බිස්නස් එක කන්නද හදන්නේ කියලා. මොකද මේ මිනිස්සුගේ වර්ක්ෂොප්ස් තියෙනවා මේ බවුසර් ටැංකිය හදන්න. ඒ මිනිස්සුගේ බවුසර් බර ගානක් තෙල් ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් කරන්න පෙට්‍රෝලියම් කෝපරේෂන් එකෙන් දුවනවා. මේවත් එක්ක තමයි මේ ප්‍රොපෝසල් එහෙම දීගෙන එනකොට සුමානයක් යන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා ලලිත සිරි ගුණරුවන්ව ආපහු කොළඹ යුනිවර්සිටි එකට මාරු කරනවා. රේල්වේ ජෙනරල් මැනේජර් කම යනවා ආපහු හිටපු චීෆ් ඉංජිනේර් කෙනෙකුට. එතනින් ඒ භූමිකාව ඉවරයි. වැඩක් කරන්න හිතපු මිනිස්සුන්ට ඒ වගේ ඉරණමක් තමයි අත්. ඔය විදිහට there are so many political reasons why this country is at this stage, basically due to political decisions. So, well, Lalita Siri Gunaruange ලිපිටික කියවලා බලන්න. ඒකට සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච රේල්වේ ඉංජිනේර්ස්වත් ගොඩක් හිටියා ඒකට සපෝට් එක දීපු. හැබැයි ඉතින් මොන හේතුවක් හන්දේලා ලලිතසිරි ගුණසුවම්ගේ ටීම් එකම තමයි කිව්වේ අර මොනෝරේල් සිස්ටම් එක ලංකාවට හරියන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. මම දන්නේ නැහැ ඒක මොන හේතුවක් නිසා කිව්වද කියලාද වෙනකන්. නමුත් එයා තමයි ඒ ටීම් එකේ ලීඩර් හිටියේ. ඒක මම පර්සනලි මම හිතන විදිහට ඒක මෝඩර් ඩිසිෂන් එකක්. Anybody, if you have somebody from railway, maybe have a better insight. Do we have anybody from the railway department? Or anybody who has some knowledge to contribute? Right. So let's continue then. So these are the kind of rail freight stations we are looking into the future. Maybe once it is implemented in Wayangoda, we will be able to see these kind of operations in Wayangoda. The car carriers, railway line, carrying cars. And today you can see all the cars unloaded in Hambantota coming to Colombo by road. Car carriers by road, 6 cars maximum per car carrier. But if we can get the railway line to carry cars to Colombo, maybe 1,000 cars, one railway line, one train, one train. We should be able to. And how many car carriers can be eliminated from the road then? We should have a mechanism. And the major initiative should be coming from the government because others don't have the authority. The government has the authority to take decisions and implement and get private sector also involved into this. Because without the support of the private sector, the government can't do it. The imports of cars and sales of cars within the country are 100% done by the private sector. So their support also should be there. So you can have different rail freight stations, railway lines. Now you can see the rail freight station loading, unloading containers and different types of cargo from and to rail carts. So rail transportation, therefore, is the most economical for the country, for a country. So it has the market area, it has the capacity, it has the reach, it has the least cost operation in terms of cost. But you need to have some kind of infrastructure development definitely to accommodate rail transportation to this level. At the same time, go to the internet and see how Germany is using rail transportation, how China is using rail transportation. The iron route from Shanghai to Moscow to Hamburg, Berlin, across all the European countries, carrying thousands of containers. The China is comfortable even today. Even all the ships sail in the sea routes are closed even. They can distribute their products across Europe by railway. So you have combined mode of transportation from rail to sea to rail to truck to any other modes as well. So think about rail transportation, how it can be applied and what opportunities we have got in Sri Lanka to implement or adaptation to railway. I think little bit of thinking is now getting changed. Some kind of systems thinking and some kind of thinking revolution is taking place at the moment. I think the recent flood situation, although it is devastating and very unfortunate, that helps, I think, to change the people's thinking. Sometimes I don't know how long it will take and whether we will be able to operate Kandy railway line. Even though we make arrangements and corrected it, how long? And the people living in the areas were marked as red zones by Bhumi Patal Karyanසයේදී. එතකොට ඒවට මිනිස්සු අහුම්කම් දුන්නේ නැහැ. මිලිමීටර් 500ක් වහිනවා කිව්වට මිනිස්සු පිළිගත්තේ නැහැ. අන්තිමට මිලිමීටර් 540ක් වැස්සා. මිනිස්සුන්ට අයින් වෙන්න කිව්වට ගෙවල් දොරවල් දාලා ගියේ නැහැ. වන්දා ඉඳන් හම්බ කරපු දේවල් හම්බ කරපු තැන දාලා යන්න මිනිස්සු කැමති වුණේ නැහැ. හැබැයි I think government should be more forceful in the future and people should be thinking more wisely in the future. I think the establishment of transportation modes, it can be rail, it can be road, or human settlements about 5,000 feet and above should be made. අඩි 5000ට වැඩියෙන් කවුරුත් තියන්න හොඳ නැහැ කියන එකට මම as a blind idea I don't agree, but we should identify the zones. What are the red zones? What are the green zones? Zones for people. People should be settled down only in the green zones. People should be evacuated from the red zone. The green zone and the red zone may be above 5,000 feet or less than 5,000 feet. It can be above or less. The zoning should happen. So those are mainly scientific then. A lot of scientific research need to be done. So when you are establishing a railway line, we should consider this scientific data, scientific research, whether it is road network, rail network, we should have this scientific research. Otherwise, 5,000 feet and above, සමහර මම හිතන්නේ ලයිබීරියා වගේ රටක මතක මදිරියට railway station එක 5,000 feet වලට වඩා උඩ තියෙන්නේ. Sorry, මේ airport එක. මට හරියටම රට මතක නැහැ, මම හිතන්නේ ලයිබීරියා. Just check. අඩි 5000කට වඩා උඩින් තමයි airport එක තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට human settlement 5,000 වලට වඩා කියන එක කියන්නේ generally that is an idea, but it should be more scientific. So depending on the situations, then we should establish railway or transportation accordingly. මේවා අවුරුදු 5 නම් කරන්න බෑ. That is why in countries like Canada, they are not considering projects now. Countries like Canada, government especially projects, project කියන වචනයට කැමති නෑ. මොකද project එකක් කියන්නේ මාස 2යි 3යි අවුරුදු 2යි 3යි අවුරුදු 4යි 5යි. project එකට නෙමෙයි ඒගොල්ලෝ තන දෙන්නේ program එක. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා project management වල we have three things: projects, programs and portfolios. program එකක් කියන්නේ program will have multiple projects. Multiple programs will be forming a portfolio. So government of Canada is considering programs and portfolios, not projects. මොකද project එක අවුරුදු 2යි 3යි, program එක අවුරුදු 25යි 30යි. So they are really looking at long term. Really looking at long term. The politicians like thinking එක, මිනිසුන්ගේ thinking එක, we must have a thinking revolution. අපේ විපක්ෂ නායකතුමා පහුවෙනිදා ගිහිල්ලා මිනිසුන්ගෙන් අහනවා 50,000 දෙනවකෝ 50,000 හම්බුණාද? ලක්ෂ 5 දෙනවකෝ හම්බුණාද? ලක්ෂ 50 දෙනවා කිව්ව හම්බුණාද? 25,000 හම්බුණාද කියලා පහුවෙන්න ගිහිල්ලා. මේ වගේ මෙන්ටැලිටි එකක් තියෙන මිනිස්සුත් එක්ක කොච්චර දුර ගමනක් යන්න පුළුවන්ද කියන එක ප්‍රශ්න. So මම කිසිම පොලිටිකල් පාර්ටි එකකට නැහැ. නමුත් as a person, how can we transfer the power to the next generation? So let's look at then road transportation. What do you mean by road? We are focusing mainly on cargo, not people transportation. There is a separate transportation. I don't know if this subject is settled in your humanitarian logistics. Humanitarian logistics කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ රටක විපතක් වෙලා තියෙන වෙලාවක කොහොමද logistics handle කරන්නේ? දකුණෙන් ගෙනිහිල්ලා ආහාර ටික ගෙනිහිල්ලා බෙදන්න යනකොට එතන රණ්ඩු. ගිය බෝට්ටුව ගැට ගහලා වෙන වැඩකට ගිහිල්ලා විනාඩි 5කින් එනකොට බෝට්ටුව උස්සලා. මේ මගේ යාළුවෙගේ බෝට්ටුවක් ඒ විදිහට නැති වුණා. බත් පාසල් බෙදන්න කියලා කිව්වා. මේ වගේ සිද්ධීන් ලංකාව විතර නෙමෙයි ගොඩක් රටවල් වල තියෙනවා. But humanitarian logistics is a different subject area. How do you handle? මම හිතන්නේ අපේ රටේ ඒක සෑහෙන දුරට හොඳට වෙනවා because we have a lot of experience with the 30 years of war in terms of humanitarian logistics, and we have faced tsunami and various other disaster situations, so that is developed. ඒක නිසා මම හිතන්නේ අපදා කළමනාකරණ කාර්යාංශයේ ඒකේ හොඳ ජොබ් එකක් කරනවා. So that is a separate set of logistics focusing on the needs of the people, needs of the hour. So when it comes to truck transportation, real truck transportation ලංකාවේ නැහැ. Real truck transportation. ලංකාවේ 90% of the cargo to the retail shops are through trucks. So local trucks now, 40 wheelers, 60 wheelers, 70 wheelers kind of trucks now. 20 wheelers වගේව තියෙනවා. But mainly road transportation, truck transportation තමයි ලංකාවේ. That is the most flexible. Now we have two types of roads. Earlier we had few types of roads. If you go to the Road Development Authority website එකට ගිහිල්ලා බලන්න, all the details of the road networks of Sri Lanka, it is available. මේ session එක නිකන් මේ just to introduce mode of transportation නෙවෙයි, how it is applying adaptation to Sri Lanka එක්ක තමයි කතා කරන්නේ. එතකොට just go to that particular website, Road Development Authority. I'm trying to get it. Just give me a minute. Just give me 1 minute. Now, let me share this. Okay. Can you see the screen, please? Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can see this is RDA website. You can see these details. We have got, you can see 312.5 expressways. අපි highways කියලා කියන්නේ. 312 kilometers only අපිට තියෙන්නේ. මං කිය less than 400 කියලා. Only 312 kilometers. A grade roads, A1, A2, A9, A grade roads තියෙනවා 4217 kilometers. ඒක තමයි main network. Then you have AA grade roads about 3720, AB roads, අපි B roads කියලා කියන්නේ. 466 and AC roads 30. Then you have class B roads 8000. Class B roads තමයි class A roads වලට feed වෙන්නේ. class B roads වලින් තමයි class A roads වලට feed වෙන්නේ. යක්කල හන්දිය ගත්තොත් එහෙම යක්කල හන්දියෙන් අර කැන්ඩි රෝඩ් එකට feed වෙන්නේ අනිත් road දෙකේ. A road එක B roads, කැන්ඩි road එක grade A roads. Then total AB roads in Sri Lanka 12,000 and total ABE roads 12,574, including 312 class expressways. So you have the more details here. Go when you have time, just have a look. There are some valuable information in these websites. Let me share the presentation. Can you see the screen, please? Can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
So we have highways, then 312 kilometers. Highways, not to the extent of highways that the USA and other countries have, but some kind of highways. At least we have some features. Can somebody tell me the features or the differences between highways and normal roads? අපි grade A, class A roads කියලා කැන්ඩි road. නැත්නම් gold road වගේ ඒවා. A2, A1, A2 ඒ වගේ roads. එතකොට A roads අතර A roads expressways ලංකාවේ තියෙන highways expressways අතර තියෙන differences මොනවද? What are the differences? අපි පොඩි exercise එකක් කරමු. So I will maybe put you to breakout rooms. We have got about, I think, 19 people now. We'll break into maybe 4 breakout rooms. So we have 4 breakout rooms now. I'm going to open now. I'll give you 5 minutes. In the breakout rooms, you have to discuss the differences between highways and normal roads. Characteristics. Differences between highways and normal roads. So I'm going to open now. Time is 3:52. Maybe till 4 o'clock, 6 minutes, I will allow you to discuss. Just discuss the differences between highways and normal roads. So I have opened now. Just go to your breakout rooms and discuss. Just click your icon and go to breakout rooms, discuss the differences between normal roads and highways. Right? So we'll discuss after that differences. Just do it quickly. Still some people have not joined. Ashok, Chamodi, Asanka, Gayan, Lasanta, Mahesh, please join quickly. You are not joined the breakout rooms yet. Said Mohammed, please join the breakout room and discuss. Still few people not joined. Ashok, Chamodi, Asanka, Gayan, Mahesh and Said. Osiad, sorry. Siad, you have not joined the breakout room yet. Right. I think we must have discussed the differences between normal roads and highways.
Yes, sir. I am from group 1.
Okay. What did you discuss?
Yes, we have identified something. What is that maximum speed limit? In the normal roads, it is for the car and other light vehicle is less than 70. But in the highway, it varies up to, I think, 100 kilometers. We can travel in the highways, but it depends on the location or any other bends. Other thing, entering and exit points in the normal road, wherever possible, you can enter. But at highway, there are restricted entering point and exit points. And highways surely they have 2 lanes, go up and down, separated by a center median. But in the normal roads, there may be 2 lanes, but not separated by center median. There may be some center butts, cat's eye. We say cat's eye, small, that blinking ones. And there are or some category of vehicles are not allowed. You can see in our entering into the Katanaga highway, puller carts, 3-wheelers, motorbike, bicycles are not allowed, right? In highway, but in ordinary roads, all are allowed. And the toll fee is charged in highway, but ordinary we don't have any toll fee.
Right.
And the condition, it is maintained. Nowadays, highways are maintained properly, but our other roads are not maintained. That's all we identified.
Very good. හැබැයි සමහර ඒවා අපි කතා කරමු highway characteristics නෙවෙයි. What you discuss, certain things are not characteristics of highways. Anyway, let's listen to other groups and see. What about room 2? Asanka, then Disanayaka, Mahesh, Situ. Other than what Subramanian said, what else you identified? Yes. Asanka, Disanayaka, Mahesh and Situ. Room 2. Yes, Asanka.
Situ, are you there? I think she's the one who took the notes. I'm not sure whether
Yeah.
We noticed that there are limited access points to expressway.
Okay.
Then that the capacity of vehicle, that means vehicle capacity is high. Normal roads, we mean there are sometimes there are 2 lanes, 4 lanes. Then we can drive many vehicles, and it is that time that drivers can reduce their traveling time.
So that is because of the speed, and it has been discussed.
And then it is a tariff also. There are some we have to pay to.
Right.
Then
Okay,
there
thank
are
you very much. Yeah, so most of the things have been discussed now. What about room 3, Senali and Tarini?
Yes, sir. We selected the access as our point.
Right.
The major difference between an expressway and a highway is the access control.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, expressway have controlled access. Where a vehicle can enter it only through a limited place and no other road.
Right.
The
Very good.
expressway, thereby
What
avoiding
about
possible
room? Yeah.
accidents.
So thank you very much. What about room 4? Adil, Akil, then Gayan and Vikas. Anything to add? Okay. So let's technically, if you see the normal roads and the highways, you were talking about the speed limits and the drivers timing and everything. Those are not characteristics of highways. Those are operating characteristics, actually, not the characteristics of the highway. Those are operating characteristics. So you can, if you go to USA, the speed limit is actually 120 miles, sorry, 120 kilometers, because they say about 75 to 80 miles. They have super highways. You have to drive more than 140 miles in the super highways. Normal highways, they don't charge now actually. The highway, as a characteristic of highways, one is characteristic of highways are fenced. දෙපැත්තෙම වැට තියෙන්නම ඕන. 100%. Whether you are in Australia or USA or Canada or Sri Lanka, highway එකක් නම් දෙපැත්තෙම වැට තියෙන්නම ඕන. Why වැට? Otherwise animals will be coming to the road and there will be a lot of road accidents. ලංකාවේ සමහර කාලවල මේ වැට තිබුණත් අපි බල්ලෝ ඉන්නවා දැකලා තියෙනවා. හරක් පැටවු බල්ලෝ අරේ මේ ඉන්නවා සමහර වෙලාවට. That is very dangerous actually. Fenced. Number two, one, as you said correctly, exit and entry. Exit and entry. එක පාට ගිහිල්ලා දාන්න බෑ. Number three, normal roads you have crossings. එතර මේ signal light එහෙම තියෙනවා. When it comes to highways, no crossings. Crossings නැහැ. No crossings. Highways වල ගොඩක් වෙලාවට as much as possible වැලමිටි වංගු නැහැ. So they avoid it as much as possible. Highways වල vertical blinds පාර කෙලින්. දැන් අපි ගත්තොත් පොළොන්නරුවේ ඉඳලා බැටික්ලෝ යන පාර ගත්තොත් පාර කෙලින්. නැත්නම් කතරගම යනකොට බියොන් ඔය අම්මදර පැත්තේ යනකොට පාර කෙලින්. හැබැයි පාරේ තියෙනවා vertical blinds. පාර කෙලින් වුණාට පාර තියෙන්නේ මෙහෙම. පොඩි කඳ ගැටයක් මුදුනට ගිහිල්ලා ආපහු යනවා. පාර කෙලින්. එතකොට මේ especially දවල්ට මේ කඳුබටේ මුදුනේදී වාහනයක් ඕවර්ටේක් කරන්න ගියොත් අනිත් පැත්තේ වාහනේත් එක්ක head on accident එකක් වෙනවා. මෙහෙම accident ගොඩක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. highways වල මේ vertical blind එක නැති කරලා තියෙනවා. reasonable distance එක තමයි ඒක තිබුණත් තියෙන්නේ. ඈත පේනවා කෙලින්. So other operating characteristics like speed limit 100 ඒ වගේ ඒවා operating characteristics. highway එකේ characteristic එකක් නෙමෙයි ඒක operate කරන විදිය. If you go to countries like Thailand, එතකොට දැන් මේ highway එකේදී the police is also there, every entry and entrance. එතකොට ලංකාවේ highway operating mode එක හරිම inefficient actually. How the efficiency of operating the highway in Sri Lanka, maintenance එච්චරම හොඳ නැහැ ඇත්තටම කියනවා. Operating efficiencies, there are a lot of operating efficiencies. දැන් අර අපි enter වෙනකොට highway එකට highway එක පටන් ගන්නකොට අපිට ටිකට් එක දීපු පොඩි කොල්ලා තාමත් ඒ කුඩුවේ හිර වෙලා තාමත් අපිට ටිකට් එක දෙනවා. දැන් ඌ මහත් වෙලා තට්ටේ ඇවිල්ලා වයසට ගිහිල්ලා කිසිම කැරියර් ඩෙවලොප්මන්ට් එකක් නැහැ මේ මනුස්සයාට. ඒ මනුස්සයා කරන්නේ totally non value adding job එක. මොකද මැෂින් එකක් දැම්මම නම් අපිට එන්ට්‍රන්ස් එකේදී අත දාලා මැෂින් එක ප්‍රෙස් කරලා ටිකට් එක අරගෙන යන්න තිබ්බා. එතකොට අඩු ගානේ එක්කෙනෙකුට ඒ non value adding job එකෙන් අයින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් ඉතින් අපි ලංකාවේ job එකක් දිනන කියලා සතුටු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ජීවිතේ කාලෙක
we have a lane to toll free lane.
so that is the ET lane, I lane.
Yeah,
But why can't we have that lane for everybody?
because of our people are reluctant to use such kind of technical.
Yeah, that is the reason. But if
Yeah,
the government made it compulsory, හැමෝම ඔතෙන්ට අනුගත වෙනවා.
they are doing same for the buses also, but yeah, that is
Yeah.
our
So
people
දැන්
are
ඔය
most.
දැන් ඔය බස් වල ටිකට් එක වෙනුවට කාඩ් එකේ ප්‍රශ්නෙත් ඕකමනේ.
Yeah,
But the government should take a stand, firm decision.
yeah, in Thailand
ඒතර
and
අනේ
Malaysia they have a stick.
yeah. So if you අතර අනිත් පැත්තේ මිනිස්සයා අර ටිකට් එක දුන්නාම අපි සල්ලි ටික කලෙක්ට් කරගන්න එක විතරයි ඉවරයි. එයාගේ exit එකේ totally non-value job. So why can't we pay it to the relevant website, maybe RDA එකේ highway website එකක් දාලා ඒකේ ඔය සල්ලි ගෙවන්න facility එක දුන්නා නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මිනිස්සුන්ට ගෙවන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒකට strict controls එන්න ඕන. time frame එකක් දීලා ඒ time frame එකේ ගෙවුවේ නැත්නම් ඊළඟට highway එකේ යන්න බෑ. එහෙම controls තියෙන්න ඕන ලංකාවේ වගේ රටවල් වල. But we should have introduced it at the beginning. ඒ non-value adding jobs අයින් කරන්න ඕන ඇත්ත. අනිත් රටවල් වල ඕම නැහැනේ කවුරුත් නැහැ ටිකට් එක දෙන්න. සල්ලි ගන්න කෙනෙකුත් නැහැ. But we pay. People pay. People have been brought to that level. So ඒ ගන්නට එන්න ඕන. So even with yes,
Currently in
please.
Sri Lanka also this electronic payment system is there in all the entry points, but
Yes.
that is not compulsory for all the vehicles. Then the regular users of the highway expressways only use this system.
Yeah, yeah. The regular people, you know, they have to pay 10,000 rupees or something at the beginning, no? To get that license and you know
You have to get the prepaid
technology.
card. Yes.
Yes, yes. Are you from road RDA or somebody somewhere?
Yes, earlier I worked for the Southern Highway
Okay,
in
very good,
design
very
stage.
good.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you agree with the characteristics of the highway that we discussed?
Yes, sir. There are some because when the designing highways, we use this American Association of State Highway standards. Then
Yes.
Sri Lankan, all these highways also comply with those standards. Then
Right.
there are visibility standards, the turning standards. There are a lot of
Yeah.
alignment there are a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
engineering aspects to be maintained.
Right.
Design highway, then it will differentiate from the normal.
Normal way, yes. But when you compare with Australian highways,
Yes.
I have seen now Sri Lanka, USA, Canada highways, yes, අර two-way partition එක සමහරක් වෙලාවට අපේ වගේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ.
Yes.
ඒ two-way partition එක අතර gap එකක් නැහැ. But Australian highways, many highways I have seen gap එක තියෙනවා 500 meters.
Yes.
එක පැත්තක ඉඳලා එක පැත්තකට යන්නේවා අනිත් පැත්තට යන්නේවා පේන්නේ නැහැ. In the middle, totally a jungle because Australia has a lot of lands anyway.
Yes, of course.
ඒ issue එකක් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ඉතින් දැන් ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ දැන් ඔය කුරුඳු ගහතක් හරියනම් ප්ලාස්ටික් කෑලි දෙකක් දාලා ටිකක් දාලා තියෙනවා මේ මොකද අනිත් පාර්ට්ෙන් එන හෙඩ්ලයින් එක රැට හෙඩ්ලයිට් එක මේ පැත්තට ඩිස්ටර්බන්ස් එකක් අනිත් පැත්තට.
Yes.
ඔතන ඒක මම හිතන්නේ highway design කරනකොට ඒක consider වෙලාද නැද්ද මම දන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක කියන්නේ.
This that is called this visibility this traffic headlight distance and the head there is an engineering factor called this headlight visibility. Then we have to minimize the disturbance to other side vehicles from the coming from the headlights. That
yes.
Then for that we use only this very cheap method, this planting some kind of there are some
කඩවත කියුල එක අර මැද අර ක්‍රිස්ටිනා ගස් ටික හොඳට වැවිලා තියෙන හින්දා ඒක ටිකක් පැයන ඉෆෙක්ට් එක.
නැත්නම් කොන්ක්‍රීට් බැරියර්ස් දානවා බ්‍රිජස් උඩ නම් කොන්ක්‍රීට් බැරියර්ස් එකක් එන්න ඕනේ දානවා. එතකොට පේන්නේ නැහැ.
anyway ඒ ටික අපි ටිකක් මදි වගේ නේද ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එක.
ඔව් මෙහෙමයි fully සමහර ඒවාගේ කොස්ට් එක හින්දා fully comply වෙන්න බැරි වෙන තැන් තියෙනවා. ඒවා ඇත්තටම ඩිසයින් චේන්ජ් කරලා තමයි ගිහින් තියෙන්නේ ඒ වගේ තැන්වල දැන් සමහර මේ දැන් ඔය කොතලාවල වගේ තැනක තියෙන එක්සිට් එක බැලුවත් ඒක ඒ වගේවා මේ ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එකෙන් අවුට් ගිහිල්ලා තමයි දාලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙම දෙයක් තියෙනවා.
නිකන් ඔක්වර්ඩ් ස්ටේෂන් එකක්. ඉතින් නිකන් හරි ස්ට්‍රේන්ජ් වගේ එතෙන්ට යනකොට නේ.
මොකද එතන තමයි අර රෝඩ් එක ස්ටාර්ට් කර ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ ඉස්සර කන්ස්ට්‍රක්ෂන් පර්පස් එකට හදපු තැන එතන. එතන ඒක හැබැයි පර්මනන්ට් එන්ට්‍රි පොයින්ට් එකක් විදිහටම තිබ්බා නැත්තම් ඒ නිසා එහෙම දැන් තියෙනවා හැම එකේම. ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක අවෝඩ් කරනකොට පාර්ට් බයි පාර්ට් අවෝඩ් කරාම හැමතිස්සෙම බෝත් එන්ඩ් එකේ තිබුණා එක්සිට් එකකුයි
එක්සිට්
පයිලට් රෝඩ් එකක් අපි මුලින්ම හදනවානේ පයිලට් රෝඩ් එකට එන එක්සිට් එකයි එන්ට්‍රන්ස් එකයි. ඉතින් ඒ දෙක පස්සේ කාලෙක පර්මනන්ට් පොයින්ට් එකක් වුණා ඒක.
ඒක නිසා තමයි ළඟ ඉතර පොතලාවල කඩුවෙල ඒ ඉතර පියගම ළඟ ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන එක නේ.
ඔව්.
හැබැයි ඉතින් එන්න ඕන තැනක් තමයි කල්තර අපි ගත්තොත් එහෙම නාගොඩ හරියට එතනට එන්ට්‍රන්ස් එකක් නැහැ හැබැයි.
නාගොඩට තියෙන්නේ දොඩංගොඩින්
යන්නේ නැතුව ඔක අපි අර ඊට එහා තියෙන බෝතලේගමද මොකක්ද මේ හරියට එකක් ආවනම් නාගොඩ හොස්පිටල් එකටයි කල්තොරටයි ළඟයි.
Yeah, there are some because the 20 at minimum exit distance again distance එකක් තියෙනවා minimum 20 kilometers වලට අඩුවෙන් වගේ ඒක මට හරියට මතක නැහැ. එම ඊට අඩුවෙන් ඒ වගේ දාන්න බෑ access entry points. මේ
මෙතනදී කඩුවෙල පියගම ඒ ටික ගත්තොත් එහෙම 20 වලට
එතන
20 වලම තියෙනවද?
ඒක තමයි ඒක රෝඩ් ඒක ඇත්තටම එක පැත්තකට විතරයි ඒක තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ සදර්න් හයිවේ එක මාතර පැත්තට පටන් ගත්තේ එතනින්. එතකොට මේ මාතර පැත්තට පටන් ගන්න දැන් පුළුවන් කොතලාවලින් මාතර පැත්තට එන්න වෙන්න විතරයි. එතනින් එක්සිට් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. හැබැයි කඩවත පැත්තට යන්න බෑ. ඒ විදිහට තියෙන්නේ. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for the insights given.
Sir, excuse me, sir. So in the expressway, there's a noise controller or there's some board and the wall.
ඒක දැන් operation and the noise එක දාලා තියෙනවා මොකද human settled areas වලින් යනකොට දැන් ඔක කටුනායක highway එකේ දකින්න පුළුවන් ඊළඟට මීරිගම highway එකේ තනින් තන දකින්න පුළුවන් අර මම හිතන්නේ එතනදී noise control එක අනිත් පැත්තට මේ sound noise protection එකක් දාලා තියෙනවා එතන අනිත් පැත්තවල human settlements වැඩි හින්දා.
So when we do the EI environment impact assessment the regulations ඒගොල්ලෝ දීලා තියෙනවා noise level එක. ඉතින් ඒක ready මේ human මිනිස්සු දැන්ට පදිංචි වෙලා ඉන්න තැන්වල ඒවා හැමතැනම මේ noise reduction කරන්න ඕනේ ඒ standard follow කරන්න. ඒ හින්දා තමයි ඒ තැන් හැම එකේම noise barriers දාලා තියෙන්නේ.
first time හිතන්නේ ඔක introduce කරේ මේ කටුනායක ඊට පස්සේ දැන් මීරිගම එකෙත් ඒක තනින් තන දාලා තියෙනවා as you said correctly as per the to meet the standards of noise reduction. නැත්නම් මිනිසුන්ට රැට නිදා ගන්න හම්බ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් එහෙම නැති තැන් වල වුණත් දැන් ගැලනිගම ඒරියා වුණත් ඒ වෙල දෙපැත්තේ ඉන්න මිනිස්සු ගත්තොත් එහෙම සෑහෙන noise pollution එකක් තියෙනවා ඇත්තටම. Okay, thank you very much for the insights given. So that is about road transportation. Then there are make it අපිට බලන්න පුළුවන් you can see the advantages and disadvantages. The road transportation flexibility එක වැඩි, so the faster door-to-door service is possible. And any mode of transportation today, not only road transportation, carriages are used for advertising. Even aircrafts are painted with some brands and advertising today. Some trains are painted with branding and advertising. Not only road transportation vehicles. Vehicles are 100% surfaces are used for road transportation. The vehicles for branding and advertising. Some disadvantages, there can be delays, traffic jams created, capacities are limited. To what extent you have to use long distance not suitable but still being used, waste of resources, higher accident rates, and also causing a lot of environmental problems. These are some standard the advantages and disadvantages of road networks. So the general classifications, as we have discussed, you have different, the different modes of transportation you can go through later, different levels of trucks transportation, light goods vehicles, medium weight vehicles, heavy weight goods. You can see, so maybe, okay, 40, sometimes 30 wheelers, 36 wheelers, 46 wheelers, kind of long vehicles, heavy vehicles across the continents, across various states of USA, across USA and Canada, across European countries. You can see these kind of heavy trucks used for distributions. So road transportation, in terms of the cost, cost factors will be higher, like the rights of the passage. So different elements of cost factors are there. There are development costs, construction costs, exploration cost, the maintenance cost, administration cost, and you have to pay compensation. Then urban environments, external different accidents and pollution cost. All these costs are getting involved with road transportation. At the same time, there can be income generation, maybe tolls, as you said, in the highways, and also the road taxis added today, even to they're separate in separate names, by separate means of road taxes are also added. So the indirect taxes will be there. Whenever you are pumping petrol, there will be a tax attached to petrol. So that is an indirect again. Why you are pumping petrol? Because you have to drive on the road. Indirectly taxes are there. Maybe the tax are collected by the different department, but still tariff is there. When you are purchasing vehicles, taxes are there. So one of the reasons that this government has collected a lot of money as taxes, because they allowed to import vehicles, and I think more than 30% of the taxes collected are coming from vehicles. Tolls, parking, insurance, all these are different means of taxes because of the road transportation. So that is an income to the government. Also, so as we have discussed advantages and disadvantages, almost same. Coming to air transportation. So you can see air transportation. In terms of cargo, it is very limited. Not like sea transportation and rail transportation. The mode is air, and it is the most costlier, most highest cost. So what are the advantages of air transportation then? The quickest mode of transportation, definitely, can access to inland areas. Risk factor is quite low, although there are few incidents reported. Insurance cost in terms of, in Sri Lankan kind of environments, higher, and simple packages, not very heavy cargo. But today, different series of antenna kind of aircraft, specially designed for carrying cargo, can carry larger volumes because of the different requirements, different war fronts. So they have to carry a lot of trucks and other weapons. So as a result, they have designed actually heavy cargo aircraft as well. Some disadvantages: face cost is very high. Freight cost highest. Capacity limited, subject to weather conditions as well. High construction cost, and also in almost all the mode of transportation, transshipment requirement is there. Now let me dig into a little bit of details why air transportation or air freight. So high air freight cost. I make a very high. Why air freight cost is very high? What is the reason? So there are few reasons why air freight charges are quite higher than the other modes. So one of the reasons why air freight is higher than other mode of transportation. Just give me a second. So air freights are quite higher. Air freight. One of the reasons, infrastructure. Or aircraft හැමතැනම බාන්න බෑ, හැමතැනම නවත්තන්න බෑ. You have to have the signaling system, signal towers, and also the runways and cargo handling, crowd handling. All these facilities should be there, meeting the world standards. ඔහේ airport එකක් හැදුවත් ඒ standards meet වෙන්න හදන්න. So therefore infrastructure cost will be quite high. The infrastructure cost එක cover කරන්න වෙන්නේ cargo සහ passengers වලින්. Therefore the passenger ticket එකෙන් කෑල්ලක් යනවා, එතකොට සෑහෙන කොටසක් යනවා taxes විදියට. දැන් ඉස්සර ඕක තිබුණා. අපි මුලින්ම යා travel කරනකොට late 70s වගේ මුලින්ම යනකොට එයාපෝට් එකේදී tax එක අපි වෙනම ගෙවන්න ඕන. එයාපෝට් tax කියලා වෙනම ගන්න ඕන. වෙනම counter එකක් තිබුණා. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි ඒක නැති කරලා ඒක කෙලිම ටිකට් එකට ඇඩ් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ටිකට් එකෙන් යම්කිසි percentage එකක් යනවා, එතකොට එයාපෝට් tax එකට ඒක උතර පැසෙන්ජර්ට තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. පැසෙන්ජර් ටිකට් එක ගත්තාම ඒක ඇතුලේ එයාපෝට් tax එකක් තියෙනවා. aviation tax එකේ different taxes ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. Infrastructure cost. The other thing is operating cost. Aircraft operating cost is very high. Mainly fuel. Aviation fuel cost is very high. The other thing is HR cost. Private bus එකක් දුවන වගේ නිකන් කෑ ගහන්න පුළුවන් එක්කෙනෙක්ව දාගෙන සැමන් වගේ පැක් කරන්න පුළුවන් එක්කෙනෙක්ව දාගෙන එයාක්‍රාෆ්ට් එකක් ගෙනියන්න බෑ. එයාපෝට් එක රන් කරන්න බෑ. You have to have qualified people, professionals. And their maintenance, upkeep, updates, regular training. May come very expensive. I think these are the three main contributors for the cost of running aircrafts. Those are some of the reasons why air freight is quite high. So another dimension of air freight will be today drones. Although it is not in Sri Lanka, we are not using yet, and many countries don't use widely, but still some countries, even in the USA kind of country, they are using drones today, even for delivery. There was a project that India to use drones to deliver pizza by drones, but still not in operation. I couldn't get some information. Otherwise, the project, the pilot project should have been done by this by the last month, November 2025. They wanted to do it, but I don't think because there were so many issues in the civil aviation, legal sector. They had to clear so many legal barriers to operate. So those are some certain areas, certain things that need to be, basically looking into it. Otherwise, these are some of the advantages and disadvantages if you can use drones. At the same time, there are new challenges. America, they have designed now flying cars. Flying cars in commercial production, maybe by April, May next year, flying cars may be in operation. So is it it is air travel or it is a hybrid then in terms of mode of transportation, road and air. If you go to Netherlands, you have a water bus, road and sea, water transportation combined. Now, the laws may be some kind of changes, introduction, new laws may need to be introduced maybe with these new developments. Please read, go to the web and see the status of flying cars. The pilot products have been done and test run have been done. What will happen then within the next 2-3 years in terms of operations? And where are we then? So if you go to Singapore, you can see successfully implemented cable cars. Even in India, in pilgrimage, you must have used cable cars. Even in Sri Lanka, there are some projects which is being constructed at the moment. Cable cars. සමහර කාලට ඉස්සරහට සිරිපා දෙන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. ලොකු වෙසක් නැතුව cable cars වලින්. I think there is one project, I don't know where, I can't remember, I read once about the cable car project. Anybody has any idea about the cable car project in Sri Lanka?
It is being implemented, sir. I think it is in Ambuluwawa or somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Is it
Ambuluwawa, I think with the recent floods, maybe you should think twice when it comes to Ambuluwawa. I don't know. I can't remember. I read it once actually. I can't remember where the project is. Okay. Chaturaka, you are from road development. No, you were. Right? Anyway, so think, get some information about it.
No, so earlier I worked for the AD
Road development.
consultant. No, I work for the consultant of the ADB funded project in Sri Lanka. The project,
Right.
the company is called Roughton International. That is a UK company. Then therefore I don't know all this road development.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Right. So then that is about air transportation. Then you can see as a main disadvantage is it is expensive and it is basically limited capacity. And there are restrictions, flexibility is also very low. Then you have water transportation. Like the sea transportation, the rail transportation, water transportation also, a lot of advantages in terms of the capacity. The availability and dependability is high, capacity is high, and also less damages, losses comparatively. So in terms of water transportation, there are so many different types of carriers. For each different types of cargo, they have developed now carriers for gas. So one of the largest ships have been hired for gas transportation. If you go to the website, just look at the ship called Prelude. The largest ship ever built, I think 580 kind of meters length. Built in Samsung shipyard in Korea. And this has been chartered by Shell Gas Company. To transport gas. You can see, just go and type largest container carriers, mainly MR Group. There are so many ships. I think the largest ship can carry about 22,000 containers at a time. One of the largest Emma ships, I can't remember the name, Emma Maersk, or not Emma Maersk, some other name. The largest amount of containers so far, 22,000 containers. So it's a huge. It is even bigger than railway transportation, railway capacity. And in terms of the cost, yes, least cost, the operation cost and all. Infrastructure cost may be a little bit higher. You have to develop harbors and other required infrastructure facilities to handle. It is not the harbor actually. Around the harbor, you have to develop other infrastructure facilities as well, maybe cargo yards and fueling and all these other facilities should also be available. And it is a complex at the end of the day. Water transportation. So the maritime transportation, which is called water transportation, there are so many legal constraints and legal barriers and which has been removed and facilitated by different governments around the world. And there are so many things still being considered. At the same time, there are some challenges as well. Maintenance should be up to date. Maintenance of seaways, canals like it can be Panama Canal, it can be Suez Canal. The canals should be maintained and canal charges should be paid. All these things are there. It is not, the expenses are becoming very more and more and increase over the period of time, but still the cheapest mode of transportation. If you take world cargo, more than 70% of the world cargo is moved through sea transportation. So that is why it is quite important at the end of the day. You can see these car carriers, ro-ro ships. So earlier with the bulk shipping, the cars are loaded to ships by containers and unloaded by cranes, loaded by cranes and unloaded by cranes. Now just roll in and roll out, ro-ro. You drive the cars into the ship. Like you park cars in the car parks. Like you park cars in the car parks, you are parking cars in different slots inside the ship. And the cars are fastened then to the hooks. Otherwise, when there's a ship rolling and pitching, the cars may be moved, cars may not be moved in such a way that cars are fastened to the hooks. And just, the park cars as you park in your, the car parks. So you can carry bulk cargo, one of the cheapest mode of transportation in the world. The other mode of transportation is pipelines. This is also challenging and most profitable or most economic. In Sri Lanka, we are using, only for water. The maximum usage of pipeline is only for water. Water extracted from Kaluganga in Horana is coming to your kitchen, maybe in Pilihan Dalawa Moratuwa, 100% through pipelines. So pipeline is not only a mode of transportation, it is a storage as well. Inside the pipeline, you are storing so many millions of billions of maybe liters of gas or liquid. So the pipeline can be used only for gas and liquid. Why Putin is very powerful in Russia. President Putin is very powerful in Russia. Why? Because he's supplying gas to whole Europe. If he shut the gas valve to Europe in the winter, nowadays, millions of people will die. All the heaters are working with gas, Russian gas. And this Russian gas line to come to India as well, there was a plan. But because of the Afghan war, coming through Pakistan, though still this has not been settled down. Therefore, we don't know when India will be getting Russian gas. But if India got Russian gas, definitely we can have a connection to Sri Lanka. Then gas will be cheaper. So, in many countries today, like we get water through pipelines, gas is also distributed through pipelines for domestic purposes. Up to your kitchen, gas lines are there. For the amount of gas that you are using, you are paying at the end of the month. Not only that, there are countries who have implemented pipelines from the main tank of fuel. From the main tank of fuel, you have a pipeline connection to the petrol shed. No bowsers. Bowser rolling in alla egolla tanki වලට පුරවන්නේ නැහැ. Gas line pipeline එක තියෙන්නේ. Now, even in Sri Lanka, this is an opportunity at least to cover Colombo and suburb petrol sheds through pipelines, for petrol and diesel. We can remove 100% bowsers from the roads. And the road capacity for other vehicles will be opened, and traffic jams will be eased to some extent. Also, accidents will be reduced. So high time to think these kind of options, because we are adding every year now so many number of vehicles to the roads. But what road developments are, zero. To the same rate of adding vehicles, we are not developing the roads. අද පාරේ මිනිසුන්ට යන්න ඉඩක් නැහැ ඇත්තටම. white line දෙක ගහලා තියෙන කාණු ගැට්ටේ. දැන් මිනිසුන්ට යන්න තියෙන කාණුවේ. මොකද වාහනේට අයිතිය තියෙනවා white line එකට යන්න. The road disciplines are poor, road infrastructure is poor, and we are adding more and more vehicles. And this is one of the reasons why every day we are killing 5 to 6 people on the road. Go to police department website and see, we are killing 5 to 6 people every day. Road accidents. So the pipelines as a major mode of transportation, you have so many advantages and disadvantages. Please go through it. Now, this is very important. This is a summary of what we discussed. Highways, waterways, rail transportation and air transportation. So this can be used. You have strengths and weaknesses, advantages and disadvantages of each and every mode of transportation. So this can be used to decide which mode of transportation, what is the most suitable mode of transportation that we can use. At the same time, there is multimodal solutions. So the strengths of multiple transportation modes are used to decide a shipment A to B in different modes. That is multimodal. Different modes of transportation is at the same time we are using intermodaling. More than one mode of transportation to take a container or the shipment to the other side, to the destination. This has been quite possible with the introduction of the containers. The container can be easily moved. You can bring the container from Anuradhapura to Colombo port by truck. Then the same container is moved to the ship, go to New York, load to the train, take it to the distribution center. So intermodeling is quite possible with this container. It is more convenient for shippers. At the same time, it facilitated global trade in the maximum manner at the minimum cost. So we have discussed transportation infrastructure and all. So this is about then So transportation infrastructure, we have discussed. So different types of network and all. Okay, so we have discussed basically the different modes of transportation today. There's one more area need to be discussed about warehousing. I think there we must be having 1 or 2 sessions further to discuss then infrastructure, the other requirements like warehousing and other areas, how do you select a location for a warehouse, warehouse layouts and warehouse security. So all these areas need to be discussed. We should have, I believe, 1 more session. Okay, then that concludes the session today here. Any questions? Anybody? Any questions? Before we close the session? If you don't have questions, then let's conclude the session today. Thank you very much for waiting till last minute. So all the best. Stay safe. Thanks a lot again. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.